Welcome to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert, your host. This week we've got a packed episode. Hillary Clinton's ailing health has gone mainstream to the point where medical doctors and psychiatrists are appearing on mainstream programs, including Sean Hannity's, to discuss her apparently poor health. It's become such an important issue to the 2016 campaign that Hillary has even discussed it. And unfortunately for Hillary, her statement on the issue raises many more questions than it answers. And I expect the speculation is now going to be greater than ever. Then, the Clintons are going to new depths in their depravity, with campaign surrogates going on television shows and suggesting someone illegally assassinate Julian Assange, the founder of WikiLeaks, and the man who suggested the murder of Seth Rich should be investigated further, leading many to believe the DNC leaks were provided by Rich. And in Hillary's trail of lies and corruption, she recently suggested it's time to look at Iraq as a business opportunity. 4,500 Americans dead, hundreds and thousands of Iraqis dead, their infrastructure destroyed, their genetics irreversibly changed by the use of depleted uranium in civilian areas, and it's a business opportunity. I really don't know how a person can be so wicked and callous. But first, here we go again. A black youth who didn't do nothing dead. A police officer hanged in the court of public opinion. Racial tensions raised, and a city set ablaze. It's a story we've heard seemingly dozens, if not hundreds of times, and this time the setting for the same old story is Milwaukee. The most recent story begins like so many others. A vehicle was pulled over by a black police officer. The two black occupants of the vehicle abandoned their vehicle and started running, defying the police officer's orders. It quickly became apparent one of the occupants had a gun. The police officer ordered the individual to put down his gun and stop running. The individual again refused police orders, and some say he began to raise his weapon against the officer. The police officer shot. The individual was killed, and it was soon revealed that the black man who died had a lengthy criminal record. It was also revealed the police officer was wearing a body camera. And within hours, a mob of around 200 blacks took to the streets. They began throwing rocks at police cars. An officer was seriously injured when one threw a brick at his head. Within hours, the mob made it unsafe for police to do their job, so they retreated a safe distance. At this point, the mob began screaming things like, "He's white, beat his head! Yeah, they white, get their ass!" and actively assaulting any white people in the area. Soon after the anti-white racist beating started, the mob began setting fire and looting the area. A gas station, an auto parts store, and various vehicles were set on fire. Many other buildings and public structures, including banks and bus stops, were destroyed. Many stores were looted. The media calls this a protest. On this show, we frequently report international incidents of terrorism. Now, do you know what the official government definition of terrorism is? The use of violence to intimidate in the pursuit of political aims. And what occurred in Milwaukee? Well, a black mob took to the streets using violence. They then went on television to say things like, "Rich people have all the money and they won't give any to us," and "We're one day away from your door." It sounds a lot like the terrorists might already be on our shores. We'll be right back after the break. I'm Tom Pappert. This is The Honest Media. Welcome back to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert here with Craig Chrysler, and we're going to start this off by talking about Hillary Clinton's ailing health. And I know we talked about this last week, but it's only getting worse. And it's gotten so bad that Hillary actually came out and she made a statement about it. Did you see the statement?
I did.
And what she said is, "Oh, I'm in perfect health. Between walking and Pilates, and yoga. She does more yoga than anyone else in the world with all those emails.
Mm-hmm.
I try to keep myself in good shape, and I usually try to eat right, but it's not always possible." And then she talked about the campaign leading up to the DNC, where she said, after that bus tour, man, I was exhausted. It got to the point where I didn't know if I was going to be able to ever get up again, let alone what would happen if I were vertical.
Yeah.
It's like, so wait, you're admitting you have no strength, no stamina, you go on a little 2-week bus tour and that totally depletes you. Meanwhile, you've got Trump doing 3 rallies a day sometimes, flying around in his jet, getting on and off, up and down stairs, doing rallies in airport hangars if he has to. And he's seemingly still full of energy and vitality.
Yeah, honestly, I don't know how that guy does it. That would...
It'd kill me.
Yeah, that'd be a tremendous toll on somebody, you would think, but he just keeps going and going. He'll have them going at 10 at night in a 120-degree airport hangar.
That's right.
Yeah.
There was one time, it was, I believe, right after he won New York in that series of states when everybody was mathematically disqualified from the nomination, when he still went to the next rally. And he was saying, you know, I haven't slept. I didn't sleep last night. We won, and I didn't want to go to sleep after we won. And they kept saying, well, Mr. Trump, we can take a night off. We don't have to go out there. But I told them, no, I promised those people. We're going to do it. I don't care if I'm sleep deprived. 70 years old. Man did an all-nighter.
Yeah, he definitely has more energy than I do. I guarantee that.
Well, and now... You know, it's not even just about energy. It's about vitality. It's about the fact that Hillary Clinton has these bizarro seizures whenever she's in public. And one physician says Hillary Clinton has Parkinson's disease, which...
There's a lot of people speculating that.
There are. And I think that might be the leading theory at this point. And if you think about it, her mental decline has been going on probably, you know, she's 70 years old. She's almost 70 years old. She had her first concussion in, 1998. She had another one in 2009. She had her most recent one in 2012. And that one, by all accounts, is very serious. She disappeared for 6 months in Johns Hopkins Hospital, where she was apparently just, doing yoga? Doing intensive yoga?
Yeah, yoga.
Lots and lots of yoga.
Deleting emails, more than likely.
Well, you know, what you do is you get the yoga ball, and it's like downward dog, but it's downward deletion.
Downward delete.
Downward delete. But there's clearly something wrong.
Yeah, didn't she resign from Secretary of State due to her health problems?
That's what some people think. And I don't know if she ever said that, but, you know, you've got to wonder... With all the scandals that were taking place, Obama was going for re-election. Maybe it was just like, well, let's push Hillary Clinton out the door so we don't have any of this come up for the general.
Yeah.
But it could have also been. I mean, 2012 is when she had the accident. She alleges that she fell after a stomach virus. Other people suggest, well, wait a minute, how come there were all these reports about her airplane being shot down over Iran at the same time? What was all that about?
I don't.
And so some people have put that together. Well, see, I've recently done a lot of Clinton research, and I'm going to share this with the people at my own risk to my own personal well-being. We're going to have a website called Clinton Crimes Spree. Phew, took me a minute. It's brand new. ClintonCrimespree.com. And on this website, I have literally compiled every single Hillary Clinton crime, misdeed, incidents of corruption with the Clinton Foundation, the lies about Bill's ex-girlfriends, rape victims, and sexual assault victims, and I've got it all on one website. So I'm fresh off all this stuff.
You're asking for it.
We're
going to have to get you a security guard.
Just like those women were asking for if the bill messed up.
Yeah.
And so one of them is people are seriously beginning to wonder, you know, what was the deal with this plane that was allegedly shot down, or maybe not? Is she lying about the concussion? Was the concussion the result from a plane crash and not her getting sick on a stomach virus and losing her balance, which again, if it's Parkinson's, well, maybe that is the case. There was one report that the White House, the federal government, has spent $250,000 making state buildings, government buildings, handicap accessible because she has such bad balance problems.
Yeah, I saw that.
And you see the photo, you know, it's turned into a meme at this point. I think we've posted it on the Honest Media Facebook page, where she's got a man holding on to each of her arm and helping her upstairs.
And when she's giving speeches places, the guys holding her up.
That's right. They've got people supporting her from behind, holding her hand. If this were Trump, and Trump were some frail old man who can't even climb up and down stairs without two men holding him up, can you imagine what the media would be like right now? It would be nonstop. Is Trump fit to be president? Will he live through the first 4 years?
Yeah.
But when it's Hillary,
I seriously doubt she'd make it through 4 years of that.
I
She
mean,
can't even barely do speeches, I guess, without collapsing afterwards.
well,
and-
she hasn't done a press conference unless you count what happened a week or two ago as a press conference,
yeah, with
which
pre-picked questions.
pre-picked questions. You can tell what I noticed, and as a TV person, this is the tell, because the Parkinson's hypothesis is the seizures can be caused when a lot of bright lights are in your face. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 bright lights in our face right now. That press conference, I thought it was very softly lit. Maybe
Yeah.
I just imagined it, but I saw some shadows where you wouldn't expect them for a professional operation. I saw various things like that that make me think, okay, well maybe they're telling them, okay, we're going to have you 5 reporters, and we're going to have it in a controlled, confined situation. You're not going to be flashing your lights, no flash photography and that kind of thing, because they know.
Yeah. Well, the debates will be real interesting to see how she handles that, if she can even make it through it
There's
without having to take 10-minute breaks.
There's reports, and I heard this from Mike Cernovich on Twitter, that they want to have the debate sitting down.
Oh, really?
Things are that bad for Hillary. She doesn't think she can stand for a full 2 or 3 hours.
Yeah, she's on blood thinners for the rest of her life now because she has blood clots in her brain.
Right.
And I guess in her leg, too. I don't know. But that's not good.
Well, and we'll end the segment with this. And people say, well, that's fine. The blood thinners are for XYZ, blah, blah, blah. But what I think happened and what, on Alex Jones, a doctor who has treated presidents, congressmen, various individuals, he says that what they likely did is she's got her doctor who knows all this stuff, right? Steve Pashinick. Hey, I got it.
Yep.
And then what they do when they release her medical records is they take her to a doctor who doesn't know any of this. They don't provide all the medical records. So he looks at, all right, well, this is for this, this is for this, this is for this. Well, yeah, all right, you're in pretty good health, Miss Clinton.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story. All to mislead us.
Yeah.
But then they say, Trump's doctor sounds too much like Trump. It's obviously a fake.
I got the best blood work out of any blood work ever.
Nobody has blood work like me, and believe me, I know a lot about blood work. All right, we're about to take a break here. We'll be back just after the messages. Stay tuned. This is The Honest Media with Tom Pappert and Craig Chrysler. Welcome back to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert here with Craig Chrysler. We're talking presidential health. And this is the official statement. We talked about it a little bit in the last segment, but this is the official statement from Donald Trump's physician. And that physician is Jacob Bornstein, MD, along with Harold N. Bornstein, MD. And he says, to whom it may concern, I have been the personal physician of Mr. Donald J. Trump since 1980. His previous physician was my father, Dr. Jacob Bornstein. Over the past 39 years, I am pleased to report that Mr. Trump has had no significant medical problems. Mr. Trump has had a recent complete medical examination that showed only positive results. Actually, his blood pressure, 110/65, and laboratory test results were astonishingly excellent. Over the past 12 months, he has lost at least 15 pounds, and I think he's lost more running, because he's moving around a lot, probably more than anyone of our age does. Over the past 12 months, he has lost at least 15 pounds. Mr. Trump takes 81 milligrams of aspirin daily and a low-dose statin. His PSA test score is .15, very low. His physical strength and stamina are extraordinary.
Like a bull.
Like a bull. Bull in a china shop called the mainstream media. Mr. Trump has suffered no form of cancer, has never had a hip, knee, or shoulder replacement or any other orthopedic surgery. His only surgery was an appendectomy at age 10. His cardiovascular status is excellent. He has no history of ever using alcohol or tobacco products. If elected, Mr. Trump I can state unequivocally, will be the healthiest individual ever elected to the presidency.
That's true. I mean, the guy never has drank, smoke, or used drugs.
That's
not
right.
many people can say that.
Well, next to no people in this generation.
Yeah.
I mean, the military came out and said 3/4 of military-aged men are not eligible for service because they're obese, they have drug problems, or they have mental problems.
Yeah, not surprising.
And this is a 70-year-old man who could probably get out there and fight on the front lines. I mean, it's
He
insane.
probably could. He got the energy and vitality of like a 14-year-old teenager, honestly.
Well, and that's what he said when he turned 70, and the crowd in Florida sang happy birthday to him. He goes, I'm not so happy about this one, but the good news is I feel like I'm 35.
Did you see the clip from India where it was all them actual the Indians people had a big picture of Donald Trump, and they were saying, "Happy birthday, Mr. Trump," and they had a cake holding them up to his picture.
They say that he's like that he's going to save civilization. You got to love Indian people, man. I don't understand the culture, but I love it, and the food makes it even better. But that was
probably one of the funniest videos I've ever seen.
This is from Western journalism, though. Speaking to a Fox News host, Sean Hannity, Thursday evening, Dr. Ben Carson, one of the nation's foremost neurosurgeons, expressed concern over the health of Democratic nominee Hillary Clinton. Certainly, as a person gets older, the number of medical conditions that we have to watch for increases, which is one of the reasons we strongly suggest as you get older, you have at least an annual examination, Carson began. If you're going into a very important position like this, the presidency, it's critical. And that information should be something we should have access to, because it's very important in terms of making that decision. Also, recognize that the presidency is not a 9-to-5 job. It is extraordinarily grueling, and you need to have everything going for you. And also, the mental capacity. There are standardized mental examinations, many mental exams, about 30 questions. You could get a very quick assessment in terms of what's going on, Carson said. And this makes me think of the interview Hillary Clinton did on Fox News. I can't remember who the host was right now. But she sat there and lied repeatedly. She said, well, James Comey said I didn't do anything wrong. The CIA director said I didn't do anything wrong. And the guy is like, no, he said you were grossly negligent. He said you did all these different things wrong. He said you did this, he said this. And she would just sit there and keep repeating, well, FBI Director Comey said I did nothing wrong. FBI Director Comey said I did nothing wrong. And it makes me wonder if she is all there.
Yeah.
How much of this White House would be Tim Kaine and her lobbyists saying, all right, Hillary, you got to get out there and read this.
Yeah, either she's not all there, or she just thinks if you tell a lie long enough, it becomes the truth.
Well, that's what Hitler said.
Yeah.
I mean, that could be part of it.
Yeah.
That she thinks it, and that would be a sign of sociopathy, when she can just sit there and lie, like a sociopath, sit there and lie repeatedly and just think, well, if I say it, it's true. I did nothing
the guy was
wrong.
on national TV telling her all the stuff she did, and she's like, no, he didn't say it.
Yeah. He would take a quote from Comey at one point, and she would say, well, he said I did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
She just kept repeating it
Like,
over and over and over.
Yeah, he did.
And then what do the liberals do? Hillary Clinton owns Fox News reporter. It's like, no, Hillary Clinton frightens the hell out of a lot of people who Russia sent the nukes.
Yeah.
Ma'am, Russia didn't send the nukes. What? Russia sent the nukes.
I'd be worried if she got in office that she probably would be just punching that nuke button.
Right? Well, and this wouldn't be...
Because she's obviously bloodthirsty already, called for the invasion of all these countries and toppling dictators and
well, you know what
the
she
co-founder
said.
of ISIS.
You know what she said about Iraq. She called Iraq a business opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
It's a business opportunity. And this is barely a decade after we finished there. Not even a decade after we finished there, but barely a decade after we invaded. And so we've got 4,500 Americans dead. We've got the conservative estimate is 165,000 Iraqi civilians dead. The Iraqi genes have been permanently disrupted by the use of depleted uranium ammunition by the Americans.
That was a big story years ago. A lot of kids being born with all sorts of birth defects.
It still is. I mean, that stuff doesn't go away. It's in the drinking water. It's in the food. It's in everything.
Which they're not supposed to be using, but they were, and then said it was okay.
Right,
But, yeah.
right.
I'm pretty sure it's against international law.
But remember, Trump's going to be the one telling people to commit war crimes, not Hillary, who sponsored them, who
But
voted
he
for
just
them.
went on air today and said that all these wars are ridiculous and we shouldn't be in any of them, and
Well, he's the one who said, don't go to Iraq.
we should be friends with Russia. Imagine that, instead of trying to start nuclear wars with them.
Well, you know, the new report, and this isn't new, it's about a year old, but the report is that we, you and me are Russians. Did you know that?
No.
They say that that Putin, and it's almost like anything Hillary does, they just report, Trump's doing it. And then that way they can't talk about it in terms of Hillary. But they say that Putin is employing internet trolls to support Donald Trump online. So whenever you see a pro-Donald Trump Facebook comment, that's Vlad in Russia.
Yeah, we're Russian operatives.
That's right. And then that turned into a Twitter meme, I guess. You know, everybody turned their name to KGB agent. You know.
Oh, is that why they did that?
That's part of the reason why they were doing that, because
I was wondering what was up with that.
Trump and Putin are just in love. You know.
Well, I can't wait to see them both riding shirtless on horses together. It's going to be amazing.
Bears. They got to ride on bears.
Yes, bears.
Or I guess Trump can have a lion. You know.
Yeah, he has to ride on the lion.
That's his family crest. But you know, a lot of people remember, and we'll close on this for the segment. But a lot of people remember back when Bush and Putin got along. They were friends. They went hunting together. They went boating together. They sat by each other at the Olympics. And now all of a sudden you get losers like Jeb Bush and Hillary Clinton saying, Russia bad, Russia scary, no fly zone over Russia. It's totally insane how apparently Russian-American relations were on the upturn, and now thanks to Obama, sharp decline, and the Democrats and the GOP establishment, the GOP-E, are all ready for a new Russian Cold War. We'll be right back after the break. This is The Honest Media. Welcome back to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert, here with Craig Chrysler. And we were talking about Russia. We were talking about why on earth people don't like them. And that really baffles me, because Russia fights ISIS. Russia fights Islam. Russia doesn't allow a lot of Islamic refugees into their country. I guess because they're nationalist and they're putting themselves above everybody else, which is frankly what we should be doing here.
Yeah, it is.
They've even been friends with Israel. Which, great American ally in the Middle East. The only thing I can figure is the GOP establishment, the Democrats, are afraid that Russia's sphere of influence will be bigger than ours, and therefore Russia has to go.
Yeah, that, and I'm sure it has to do a lot with business interest, too. Like, I know Russia is really against Monsanto. Putin even said, I think it was about a year ago, we might have to go to war with America just to stop GMO food, because it's going to destroy the world.
Well,
if that happened,
and of course,
I'd probably be on his side.
Well, see, I'm one of these people who I don't see. I think that the certain companies, giving a company monopoly control over anything is bad, but I think the GM food is probably not as bad as a lot of people say, but that is part of it. And what it could be is they just don't like an American company. Why should Russian farmers have to buy their seeds strictly from American companies? I could understand that.
Yeah, well, supposedly Russia's banned all GMO food.
They did.
Yep.
They did. And you bring up business interests, though, and that makes me think Hillary Clinton should love Russia. She should adore Russia.
She gave them, 20% of our uranium?
Gave them 17% of the United States supply of uranium, the stuff that makes nuclear bombs. And what happened is a bunch of Canadian and Russian special interests got together. They donated through a Russian bank to the Clinton. No. They paid the Clinton Foundation in exchange for a speech by Bill Clinton in Russia. And then, all of a sudden, a couple of days later, Hillary Clinton, I guess that sounds like a good idea. Here you go. Not only that, though, this is the thing that nobody talks about. This is the real Russian scandal. When she did the Russian reset button. Remember that? Everybody remembers that. And all of a sudden, Cold War never happened. But they engaged in a technological sharing program where the United States and Russia were supposed to be sharing economic and governmental technologies with each other so we could both benefit. And intelligence operatives, intelligence people, analysts all across the United States say, no, all we did was give Russia the opportunity to commit corporate and governmental espionage against the United States. They have our best technology, they understand our government systems now, and we got nothing from it. And you wind back a little bit further, and yeah, there were some Clinton Foundation donations involved.
Yeah, not surprising.
But yet, somehow, this woman who literally sells out the country to Russia, well, Donald Trump is going to partner with Putin.
Yeah. Well, she's just a nutcase. I mean, one day she's saying she hates him and would never give him the uranium. The next day she's giving it to him.
The check cleared.
Yeah. And then she hates him again. And, oh, how dare Trump want to be friends with him? What's he thinking?
Right. And how could we ever have relations with Russia? They're not nice to gay people over there. Meanwhile, she gets checks from Saudi Arabia, where gay is punishable by death.
Yeah, the fact that our government's even friendly with Saudi Arabia is disgusting in the first place.
It's shocking. And you know, that was one of my favorite Trump tweets. The Saudi Arabian prince tweets at Trump, "You were a disgrace to your country. You should exit the race immediately." And Trump tweets back, "Dopey Saudi Arabian prince likes to buy politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it when I'm in office." It's just like smacking Saudi Arabia in the face with a tweet.
Yeah, I'd like to see an end to U.S.-Saudi relations.
I don't know what we get out of it. You know, they're not taking any refugees. Some people say all they do is export people. They export Wahhabist I don't even think migrants. We'll call them migrants. And those are the people who are the Westboro Baptists of Islam. They want Islam to conquer everything. They want to kill everything who isn't Islam.
And they're probably the biggest state sponsor of terrorism there is. I mean,
them and Iran.
That's
19 literally all of it.
Hijackers on September 11th were from Saudi Arabia.
But don't you dare sue them because of that.
But we went to Iraq.
That's right. We went to Iraq. We went to Afghanistan.
We totally missed it.
Yeah. It's almost like we can't go here, we can't go here, so mark those parts off the map with a black marker and darts.
Yeah.
I mean, does anybody, I guess because Saddam had weapons of mass destruction.
That Donald Rumsfeld gave him?
Right. Right.
Publicly?
Buried under the sand. That's what and this was told to me off the record when I was in Cleveland, but that's what one former soldier said that, and I had another soldier who directly contradicted this, but he said, it was all just buried under the sand. Hussein was that insane. He's just going to bury it. They'll never find it. And so that's when ISIS came out, and all of a sudden they've got access to all these weapons.
Yeah. Well, I always thought the reports was they never even found anything, but...
That's what we heard. And then you hear soldiers who came back, and they're like, how come it's not on the news? What's going on here? What's the cover-up?
Well, they were probably all given away before, we announced we were coming in on live TV. We're going to be there tomorrow dropping bombs. Get ready.
Right.
Shock and awe is coming.
3 years later, all right, we're leaving on the 19th. Yep, 19th. We'll be gone on the 19th. And like Trump says, everybody's thinking, surely they're not serious, right? Surely this is some misdirection,
he was talking about that
fool
today.
The enemy. Nope, they really left. Yeah. They really left on the date they said they were going to leave, exactly how they said they were going to do it.
Obama has to either be intentionally trying to destroy the country or just the biggest idiot to ever live.
Can't it be both?
It could be both, yeah. Well, you'd have to be an idiot to want to destroy the country, so yeah. Or a secret jihadi Muslim.
You're going to get us on a watch list, Craig.
Yeah,
I got to fly places.
Yeah.
But, and he came out recently and he said that the Republicans, another Democrat said that the Republicans have a hate monger who is going to be the next president who entertains having relationships with crazy homicidal people, meaning Putin apparently. And it's like, well, back up, zoom out. Press the pause button. Obama is the one who has Black Lives Matter activists to the White House days after Black Lives Matter sponsors riots.
Yeah.
And it's not a single occurrence either. It's like, wait a minute, these people who say F the police, what do they say? Pigs in a blanket? What is the chant?
Fry 'em like bacon.
Fry 'em like bacon.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just unfathomable. And you hear the Black Panthers who strongly intertwined with the Black Lives Matter movement, the new Black Panthers, who said, yes, this is a war. This is a war between oppressed blacks and the racist white society. And this is just last weekend's shooting, when the cop who shot the guy was black.
Yeah, it don't matter.
No, it's
like over, what was it, last week? 100 people in Chicago got shot. Where was Black Lives Matter on that? Nowhere.
Doesn't matter.
Nothing to be heard.
Black lives only matter if a white person or a white institution, that's what they call it, institutionalized racism, takes the lives.
Shoots a gang member that has a gun.
And is fleeing, disobeying direct orders, runs out of the car. What does it take? What do these people want?
So I'm mad, I'm going to burn down my neighborhood.
That's right. That's right. And then you see him walking out the door with the arm full of weaves and the other arm full of hair supplies.
Oh, I saw him on
Justice for...
There was a black girl on TV there. We need our hair care products.
What do these people want? And we can get into that in the next segment because I have a theory.
Just let them burn everything down.
Well, it's a state-sponsored zoo. They are forced onto these state plantations where they have no hope of getting out, and the government keeps funneling them all the money they need to never leave, never be responsible, never have a successful family, never pursue a career, never get education. It's a state-run zoo. And we'll be right back after the break. Welcome to The Honest Media. We've moved on from Hillary's medical decline and right into the Milwaukee riots that happened this past weekend. And I'm probably going to get some heat for what I said at the end of the last segment, but I'm going to stand by it because what the government does is it creates these ghettos. It creates the situation where it is more profitable for a young black woman to have kids out of wedlock and marry nobody because daddy government's going to keep sending exactly what she needs.
Yep.
Then the government takes the schools, removes any semblance of choice. Kids are bused by force to whatever school the government says they have to go to. And in one situation, in Milwaukee, this is dated information, but it's still valid, the high school graduation rate was, I believe, 32%.
Jeez.
32% of high school graduates, young black men, that's it, and women, 32% graduated. Now, in a choice school where the parents could say, no, I want to send my kid over here, they had a voucher, it doubled the graduation rate to 64%. Just that one little semblance of choice. But the government doesn't want you to have choice. We see this in Wichita, where we broadcast from. The government does not want you to have choice because they want the teachers' unions to have the power. They want the teachers to feel empowered. It's all about control. And so they force kids here, they incentivize the mothers not to have a family that pays more to have welfare than to have a job. Black men, black youths have no role model on how to get out of the cycle of poverty that Lyndon B. Johnson claimed he was going to fight. Meanwhile, we've spent $16 trillion in taxpayer money since the Great Society started in 1965. So I stand by my remark. It's a zoo. The government forces these people to live here. You drive by and you're afraid to get out of your car because, as we saw in Milwaukee, they're shouting, "He white, get his ass!
Yeah.
Beat his head in!"
Hunting down white people.
And then the media refuses to ever look at the cause. What is the solution? Oh, give them more money. Give them another $16 trillion. Just keep throwing money. Throw good money after bad. It doesn't matter. It's not my money. It's tax money, whatever that means.
Yeah. Well, I saw a guy a while ago, and I wish I could remember his name, but he made the distinction between the modern day government-controlled ghetto and welfare system to slavery of the old, and he actually concluded that they were better off as slaves than they are on these.
Well, I think that's what Thomas Sowell
ghettos.
said. I think maybe it was Thomas Sowell, somebody in the libertarian movement, who said the welfare state has done to blacks what slavery could not do, and that's destroy the black family.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, that's one of the few things you still have to do in this country to make sure you're not in poverty and will join the middle class. Hold your first job a year. Not that hard. Wait till you get married to have kids. That's number two thing. No, especially not in the black community where illegitimacy in...
I don't even see that. That's not a black problem. That's everybody's problem. You know,
well, it is.
Almost every white girl I know has a kid by the age of 18 or 20, no dad around. I think the single mother epidemic is probably the greatest challenge facing this country.
And that's how the state wants it, because
Yeah,
when
they
you
do.
don't have a provider in your life, when you don't have a stable family unit for support and love and the extra money that having two incomes or one income while the wife sits at home and takes care of the kids, as it probably should be based on history, that's what happens.
Those
You have
past
to depend on the
20,000
government.
years. Yeah.
And when the wife is out of the house, all of a sudden she doesn't know the neighbors. Maybe the neighborhood is less safe. Well, sorry, Johnny, you can't play outside the driveway. You might get abducted. That's where the government has led us.
Yeah, it's a big, huge host of issues that are destroying this country, and that's one of the main ones. Honestly.
Well, you know, we're not the only ones to make
it's
this
the
connection.
downfall of society.
Diamond and Silk call it the Democrat plantation for a reason. They say, get off the Democrat plantation. You don't have to vote Democrat just because you're black. And that's the trap that they're in. Oh, well, I got to get my welfare. What about the black? This is the first thing we ever covered on the show. The young black man who had had a criminal record already, and he got arrested for a rap video where he had stolen guns in the video, and he says, I'm going to kill Donald Trump. You want to take my mama's food stamps away. I mean, what is that crap?
Well, why would you get a job if you get welfare, food stamps, a free phone, your phone paid for, your energy
housing.
paid for, free housing?
And
Why?
not only that, if you commit a crime, the media will come out and make excuse after excuse for you, because you're not held to the same standards of every other member of society. I would love to see the media, what the media has to say about Asians, the people who outperform every other demographic, the people who are the best off in this country, the best educated, the best jobs, the best family lives. Where's the institutionalized racism against Asians?
Nowhere.
Meanwhile, you get blacks and everything is white racism. When they go and they literally find and attack white people on the streets, it's white racism that caused it. It's them paying us back for what the hell I don't know, but it's them paying us back.
Yeah, sorry for giving you my tax money.
Yeah, sorry for the $16 trillion since 1965. My bad. Well, and you know what Lyndon B. Johnson said when he behind closed doors when he started the Great Society, and we can't repeat it on this broadcast because we will both be killed and taken off the air immediately. But suffice it to say, summarized, he said, we'll have those black people voting Democrat for the next 200 years.
Yeah.
Now, he used a little bit more colorful language.
Oh.
Have you heard that quote? That's a
No,
real
I
quote. He
haven't,
really
yeah.
said that. We'll have them voting Democrat for the next 200 years.
Well, it's not surprising. I mean, that's the Democrats' voting pool, and that's who they pander to, and they keep them broke and in them conditions so they can continue to vote for them.
They couldn't use Jim Crow laws. They couldn't have slavery. And so what do? They found a new way to keep black people confined in their area of town. You know, the KKK supports Hillary Clinton for a reason.
Yeah.
There's a video where a Klan leader is sitting there saying, the Klan has always been about Democrats. Hillary's saying what she's got to say to get in the White House, but we know once she's in, she'll look out for us, just like always.
Well, I think it's gone way beyond the black community. I think it affects the entire country now because there's just as many probably white single moms
Well, it's a
as there
growing
is
problem.
black single
But
moms.
the sad thing is, before the Great Society, before the welfare state, blacks had the single highest rate of marriage.
Yeah, they were really booming there for a while until...
and in the late 1800s, there was a poll done of blacks, and this is post-slavery, and most blacks who were married said that they had been married for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
They had some of the most stable family lives
Yeah.
out of anybody in the country.
They had their own cities. A majority of them owned their own businesses. They were doing really, really good.
And then Great Society comes in, and it goes straight the opposite direction. And it's so sad, because you can just think what would have happened if not for this welfare monstrosity that we're forced to live in now. We probably wouldn't have any of these problems. There would be no marginalized people who have been, think about it. When your parents don't work, how do you know how to go to work? How do you know how to deal with your boss? How do you know how to apply for a job? How do you have the self-discipline to wake up early? How can you delay gratification when you know the check's coming at the end of the month, regardless of whether or not you're going to work?
Yeah, you don't.
These skills have been completely lost in the black community.
Yeah. I see it nationwide, not even the black community. It's
happening
spreading
worse in the white
everywhere,
community, because you're right. In the last 20 or 30 years, the family is being destroyed all across.
It's non-existent now.
And again, except for those poor Asians who have some of the best family lives, some of the best traditional values out of anybody. Somehow they've managed to escape all this, but they just benefit from white infrastructure racism. whatever the Democrats can say out of their thesaurus of mean words.
Yeah, I think they ignore everything and just stick to their culture is why they're doing so good.
Well, you can't say that they haven't had a hard time. I mean, I can't remember the derogatory term, but when many Chinese, Filipinos were brought over here initially, it was to work at borderline slave conditions on the railroads.
Building the railroads.
And there were laws passed in California saying that they can't go out with white women, all kinds of things, all kinds of things.
Man, they were imprisoned all
That's
during
right.
World War II.
FDR.
And still they're thriving.
Beautiful Democratic president, and yet they managed to recover, probably because they didn't take the welfare.
Yeah.
We'll be right back after the break. This is The Honest Media. Welcome back to The Honest Media. I'm Tom Pappert, here with Craig Chrysler. This is our final segment for this week. And I'm going to start by reading some statistics that anybody should find shocking, appalling, and this is CNN. These are the people who don't want this to be true. This is children in single mother families, single parent families, but come on, how many single dads do you know? But broken down by racial or ethnic group. Non-Hispanic whites, 25%. That's a quarter of people. I mean, that's insane. But it gets worse. It gets much, much worse. Hispanics, 42% of children have a single-parent household. American Indians and Native Alaskans, 53%. And the worst, the absolute worst, non-Hispanic blacks, 67%. 2/3 of young black children are born without a stable family.
Well, it's no surprise why they're just all acting like hooligans, running around
like children,
burning their own neighborhoods down. I mean, at least be smart enough to burn somebody else's neighborhood down if you're mad.
Yeah, go to the white neighborhood if you're. We shouldn't give them this advice.
Yeah,
we don't want to give them this advice. But you were talking about this in the break. This is what the Nazis did. You destroy the family, and then you can get the new adults that you've brought up to believe whatever you tell them. And Hitler took the children away from the parents for a majority of the day in his standardized public schools and his Hitler Youth program. The mothers, how you were saying, the mothers were taken out of the home, or at least yeah, that's right. They had their own version of the Hitler Youth. The mothers were supposed to go and socialize.
Yeah, and there's actually a program for it. I don't know if I can remember the exact name, but yeah, there's they had whole groups and insignias just for mothers of the Reich.
And of course, fathers had to go participate in their ridiculous party politics gatherings all the time.
The rule is, you get how you take over a country and change everything about it is first you get the children, then you get the moms to the children, and then the men follow the moms. And
look what's happened in modern times. Children are taken to school. Head Start programs start at age 3.
Government prison camp schools.
And again, age 3. They're getting these children into Head Start programs. And all the science shows, we've now had it long enough to know that Head Start, the bonus of having that extra years of education is really only going to last a couple years. And then they go back to the standard mean.
Yeah.
But age 3 to 18, and now the government has subsidized college to the point where anybody with a pulse can go get a student loan and get into any school they want, theoretically. So we're talking 22. Nobody graduates in 4 years. We're talking 23. 23 years of government-funded or government-sponsored education. Meanwhile, they tell the mom, well, your kid's not here. I mean, why don't you go get a job? Have a 2-parent income. It'll be great. Be great for your family. Mother's out of the house. Mother's not engaging in the community. Mother is buying whatever crappy canned food is at the store because she doesn't have time to cook from scratch. Well, then you've just got the father. Well, if the mother's working, and the mother can receive benefits if the dad's not around, why do you need the dad?
Yeah, they've virtually made males
obsolete.
Obsolete, yeah,
they don't,
in today's society.
And that's why so many men, God, these college kids, they're slender women.
They are. They're pathetic. They're pandering, whiny, feminist.
virtue signaling feminists.
Yeah.
It's all about, and they think that by saying these things, it's going to get them laid, right? That's
Yeah.
the only thing that I could figure why a man would go so
Yeah.
against other men. And, you know, it's been said the last place for men to actually compete and feel some of the competition that drives men to be men is video games. Which
Yeah.
explains how come so many men they graduate from college with their BS liberal arts degree that they can't do anything with. They go back home to live with mom and dad because what else are they going to do? They can't support themselves with a Starbucks income, and they just zone out playing video games.
Well, yeah, they've shrunk away from society because there's really no place for them anymore, and they don't like the women anymore because most of them are just mean, nasty, vindictive,
You
horrible
get them
creatures.
pregnant, they don't let you interact with the kids. That's
So-
what the MGTOW
so
moment
they-
is.
yeah, they stay
Men
home
going
and
their
play
own way.
games, yeah.
Stay home, play video
There's
games.
this awesome study, and I wish I would have remembered it for the break, but they did a study on mice. They made the mice community predominantly more female than males. And when that started happening, the female mice became very aggressive and would go pick on the males. And there would be some of the mice that tried to cuddle up and like protect them, but most of the male mice would go off by themselves and just groom themselves all day. And they called them the beautiful mice. But studies show that when females reach the majority and have power, they become very, very aggressive and attack males. And that's what you see going on today.
What do you see happening? Yeah, what do you see? You see it all the time. Like when Milo Yiannopoulos goes and does his college tour, and he says feminism is cancer. And these women, it's almost exclusively women. They show up. You got Triggly Puff, who is 450 pounds if she's a day. And, get your hate speech off this campus, get your hate speech. And my favorite part of that video is when she has to take in so much air to be able to do it. It's like her body knows that she's about to have more physical output than she's had in the last 6 months. Get your hate speech off this campus, get your hate speech off this campus.
Yeah.
And they've got, before that, the women who filled balloons with either red paint or pig's blood, the reports conflict, and threw it at other people. And then they're dripping throughout the school, and the school's janitorial staff has to clean it up. They don't care.
Well, there's your example of women becoming overly aggressive and
That's right.
nasty.
That's
Yeah.
right. When their hegemony is challenged.
Yeah.
When the idea that maybe this feminism that they've been spoon-fed since they were 2 isn't really working for society is challenged.
Yeah. Well, this has been a program for ever since they allowed women the right to vote, which was really just the right to be able to tax them to get a new tax bracket. That's the only reason they allowed women to vote. That's what the whole women's right thing was about in the beginning, to get them on the tax bracket and then get them to working to destroy the family so the government could take over everything, which it's trying to do today. And that's why it's so important to get Trump in, a real man who speaks the truth and tells you how it is and offends everybody.
And it's not, I mean, the argument is there to be made that maybe women's suffrage is not such a wonderful thing. But nobody is talking about taking the vote away from women. What we want to do is give women the facts so they can step away from the feels and the emotions for 10 minutes and go to the poll booth and vote for something other than the next 15 minutes feeling good.
Yeah. Well,
That's all
there's
we
been
want.
large studies ever since it's World War I or World War II. Every year, women become increasingly more depressed and angry.
That's right. And so the general life expectancy for every demographic, men and women, is going up in the West. Everybody is living longer. Everybody is having longer, happier, fuller lives, except white women. It continues going down year after year for white women. They're dying earlier. They're less satisfied.
Yep.
Maybe something's not working.
Yeah. The past 100,000 years apparently didn't teach us anything on how society should be organized.
No. That's just misogynist. That's pure, straight up misogyny.
Studies prove that stay-at-home moms that are married are the happiest out of all female.
Well, and everybody acts like you're going to catch flack for that.
Oh, yeah.
And we're almost out of time, but you're going to catch flack for that because
For telling the truth.
and for telling the truth and for suggesting that women can be happy raising children. And then the very same women who do that are going to say we need public school funding because children are our future.
Yeah,
so children are our future, except we better not raise them ourselves because that's bad.
I don't have time for my kid. Go to a public school.
Yeah. Children are our future, therefore give all your tax money to these people. I'm going to go get my job. I'll see my kid 2 hours a day if I'm lucky.
You know, the founding fathers were very adamant that we should never have a government-funded public school in this country. Never, because they knew exactly what it would lead to.
Well, they had
and
the
look at us
Austrian.
now.
They had the Austrian model back then. Maybe I'm a century off, but they had the Austrian model, that's the same model that we use today, where it is literally a method to turn children into good citizens. That's the entire point of public school in its current form. You wonder why we have iPads now. We have all this wonderful technology. We have e-schools, and yet in public schools across America, they sit children in rows and have them repeat doctrines and take notes. It's because it's not about learning. It's about creating complacent, servile citizenry who will go with whatever they say.
Worker bees.
And that is why overgrown children go to college and have no idea how to participate in adult life. And really, if we don't get Trump in, if we don't start to undo some of this, I don't see a way out that's not going to be very, very destructive to the current way of life.
Yeah, he's the only hope I've seen for really changing the culture. And I think, despite everything else, that's the most important thing to be done right now is to change the culture. And he's the guy coming to break the walls down of the PC crap.
Well, it's been said by smarter people than us, more eloquent people than us. Politics is downstream from culture. We'll be back next week. Like us on Facebook, visit our new website, thehonestmedia.com, and check out ClintonCrimeSpree.com. It is your ultimate source with everything you will ever need to argue about the crooked Clintons. ClintonCrimeSpree.com. We'll be back next week.